Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to Law Moment. I'm Hallie Zobel. I'm an attorney at Private Corporate Counsel in Central Florida. Today, I have the privilege of introducing my guest and dear friend by the name of Karl Furno. Karl, welcome to Law Moment.
Thanks for having me, Hallie. This is a lot of fun.
Yes, I want to tell my viewers out there that Karl Furno is a financial advisor, a financial planner type. Tell us a little bit about what you do, Karl.
Yeah, so I'm a certified financial planner. CFP is, as we know it for short. Basically, I help people build wealth, save wealth, work towards financial independence. Think of me as a personal CFO.
So you work with only rich people?
No. We work with everybody.
Oh, people without money.
Yeah, and we help them. Do they want to save money? We can help with that.
Mm-hmm. What ages are your clients?
Well, we have clients in our 20s and clients in our 90s. So we can help kind of where everybody is in their journey. We can help them.
Would you tell us how long you've been in this profession?
17 years.
Mm-hmm. And has it been a good 17 years?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
UCF, University of Central Florida.
Mm-hmm. So you cheer for the Knights?
Yep. Cheer for the Knights. I was there for a couple of their winless football seasons. At least one. I don't know if there were two. But yes, it's nice to see them.
Well, very good. The reason I've called you in today, one of the topics I'd like to discuss is something called the Secure Act. A lot of people are talking about the Secure Act. Clients come into my office asking about the Secure Act. I'm not the financial guy. I'm the legal documents gal. Tell us some of the basics of the Secure Act that was passed by Congress a few years back.
Yeah, so I would say there's a few things, but one of the main things is they push the RMD age back.
Okay, and what's an RMD for our audience?
Yeah, so RMD is required minimum distribution. So if you have a 401k or a traditional IRA or a similar type retirement plan, that money's never been taxed before. You get a tax deduction to put money in, it grows and grows and grows, and then when you pull money out, you pay taxes on it. You don't have to do that at all. You don't have to take money out unless you get to the RMD age, which now is 73. And so a portion of your retirement account will become taxable every year.
What did the age used to be?
Used to be 70 and a half, went to 72, and then it jumped quickly to age 73.
Okay. And have there been variations or updates on this Secure Act?
Yeah, there was two. So there was the version 1 and version 2. That's what went from 72 to 73. And there's a couple minute changes or iterations in both of them.
And how does these new laws affect how a baby boomer might be inheriting from their parents or a millennial inheriting from a baby boomer?
Sure. So back in the day, you used to have what they call a stretch IRA provision. Basically, the beneficiary they would still have to take required distributions out of their retirement plan, but it could be off of their life expectancy. Okay. Now you have a 10-year window where that money has to be out.
So you can no longer, you're telling the audience, stretch it out through your entire lifetime.
Correct.
Required that it must go out in 10 years. Wow.
So a lot of tax planning happens there because if someone waits 9 years, they're going to have a big tax bill potentially in year 10.
So you'd want to get with clients early on who inherited from a parent to give them advice.
Absolutely.
And would there be any exceptions to that 10-year, you must take it out by the 10th year?
Yeah. If somebody's disabled, they can stretch that out.
Okay. And what about a surviving spouse?
Yeah. So a surviving spouse doesn't have that issue, but you can choose to take as a surviving spouse, your required distribution off of the other spouse's life expectancy to maybe have a smaller required amount that you have to take out.
And what about if there's a big age difference between the husband and the wife, the spouses?
Yeah, exactly. You could take it off of the younger spouse's age. Okay. To use basically the retirement table would calculate a smaller required check you need to take.
Are you finding yourself counseling clients on this new law as their parents are passing and they're inheriting?
Sure. Everybody these days is really, they're having to navigate these new rules. The rules were pretty similar for so many years, and now they're changing, and people don't they're not in the field day to day, so they don't really have the wherewithal to understand the full ramifications necessarily. So yeah, it's a lot of talking through, and it's a whole different style of planning now.
And you mentioned that you're a certified financial planner. As such, have you taken courses in retirement planning specifically?
Sure, absolutely. So the CFP program is not just investments. It's investments, insurance, and retirement planning. It's tax planning. It's estate planning. So you said you're the document girl or something earlier.
Gal.
The document gal. I don't prepare documents, obviously, but I need to understand how the puzzle pieces work.
Yes.
Right. I understand how insurance work, and obviously how retirement planning works, and how all those pieces fit together.
Let's talk a little bit more about that exam you took. What year did you pass it?
2011.
Okay. And is it a pretty brutal exam?
Brutal. I'm here to talk about it, but it was brutal. 2 days, very comprehensive, very deep. But I'm a survivor. So,
And what does that bring to the table? How would a potential new client coming in your office weigh that you have taken that exam and passed it and have that certification? How does that play in?
Sure. A lot of people could call themselves financial planners. They could have an insurance license or a brokerage type license, but the CFP exam really hits comprehensive financial planning. All the moving pieces work together, whether we want them to or not. And it also vaults us to a fiduciary status. So I don't represent me, I represent the client.
Okay. And so what does that fiduciary status mean?
It means that I'm looking out for the client's best interest. And it's not just a nice marketing thing, it's also a legal responsibility that we have.
And not your pocketbook.
Correct.
Interesting you should say that, because same with we lawyers. We're bound by an ethical rule from the Florida bar, and we swear to uphold the ethics. And a lot of times people don't realize that we lawyers have that ethical duty and treat us as otherwise. But we absolutely have that. And I make advice many a time for a client that goes against my financial best interest, but I have to advise the client what's best for their interest. It sounds very similar, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you help us kind of briefly say why the government is doing this? Why have these new laws been enacted in recent years?
Yeah. Hey, I don't exactly know why the government does a lot of things, but what I can guess, my best guess, people are living longer. Okay. People are living longer and longer, so pushing the mandatory retirement distribution age further out just makes sense. It helps money last longer for retirees. And so in order to pay for that, there needs to be concessions. And so, okay, we lose the stretch rule, but we get a longer RMD runway.
Okay, I understand. So last of all, Karl, could you tell our audience this morning some general advice for saving for retirement, for financial moves? What kind of general advice would you give our audience?
Yeah, so think about 50 years ago. Most people had pensions. Our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, they probably had some type of a pension. We see less and less of that right now. Only about 11% of people have a pension these days. And that number, I think, will just keep declining. And so we have to take the responsibility for saving for our financial independence and our retirement, whatever that looks like. So start young, take it seriously. That's my main thesis.
Okay, great, Karl. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
This has been fun. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Karl. You're so much fun and smart. Audience, we want to thank you so much for tuning in today to Law Moment. Once again, this is my guest, Karl Furno. He's with Mosaic Wealth Management. He is a certified financial planner. If you'd like to reach out to him today, please call us at our law firm, 407-647-7887, named Private Corporate Counsel. We absolutely will get you in touch with Karl. And thank you so much for tuning in.